Alright, so this is Emily. She is my mare. She is a 9-year-old Hungarian, and I got her about 3 months ago. And the biggest thing we're working on is trying to relax. She looks nice and relaxed right now, walking at the beginning, which is great because she wasn't at first when I got her. So now we can walk and warm up on a long rein, which is quite nice. But when she gets going, you'll see she tends to get a little bit tense sometimes. She, if anything, tries too hard, and she kind of stresses herself out trying so hard to do the right thing. If she ever doesn't know what the right thing is, then she gets really stressed. We're just starting from the beginning now. We'll kind of walk the park. I'm going to show you from the beginning of the ride where I start and where we go. Not quite sure what we're going to get. I'm going to do a lot of lateral work with her trot and canter, trying to help her to be a little bit more supple. She tends to want to get a little stiff and not quite bend. Now you feel it. Pick up the reins a little. Anxious. I pick up the reins, she thinks it's time to trot already. Just position her, help her soften by giving her a jog and bending her. And just let her realize that it's okay. You can walk forward, you can do a shoulder in. Nothing to stress about. Good girl. That is more relaxed. And then when she's not thinking of it herself, then I'll take her into her trot. I don't want her to always anticipate it and to go right into it. That's her there. So go down. Good girl. Right now, there we go. And we're just always got to close and move at the beginning. Now I change it again. And then put it back. Just to settle in, find a nice trot. Now we're getting up the inside leg. Back to the other direction. Outside leg there. And just kind of stick with this big figure 8 basic routine. We're using block my inside leg, turn the shoulder off my outside leg, really bending. Supple a little there, open it off, but then I want to be able to just put my hand forward, leave her alone, let her stretch. Good girl. There. top of my leg. A little leg to run forward as I start to bring it back. Forward again. Good girl. Don't want her trotting back off as I turn. And again, left leg. And there, off that a little better. Not thrilled with that turn. A little bit. Good girl. I like to use the mirrors. I've got a mirror on the wall behind the camera, so I'm looking there. Making sure that she looks balanced and in the place that I want her to be. When she gets to the bend, then she's talking about it. Good girl. That's better. I don't know if you can see the difference there, but here she's much better about that turn. Not following up the left leg again. You don't want to have to run her head in any corner. Good job. So that she'll talk about what the circle again. Good job. You want her to go for a turn and take her own responsibility for bending. That's all. Pop your shoulder out there, left side leg. You do lots of this, lots of circles. Just trying to get her bending up my inside eight, good girl, and turning up my outside eight. And that's really what all the lateral work breaks down to. Good job. Checking that she not too many way. Like the other one is not too much. Not too much under the neck. On me there. I'll throw in some 10-meter circles. Really hold her in that 10-meter circle. No. Now that I set my outside aids a little better, as we saw when she cantered. Here she kind of got tense about it again. Oh, I know we canter again. She knows that's not a canter transition. Sorry, left. Here comes. Where she starts to get just a little bit stressed about it. Hold herself up there and shuts down for a second. Tuck her out again, good girl. Good job. To kind of take a step back when she's not quite sure exactly what I'm asking. And I think through it. Just through it. Get stuck. Let's go back to these touches a little easier. Inside to get there, in the beginning. All do it again. There, good girl. You see the truck getting better there. You just need to bend on the circle. Turning the knees to my inside eight. Turn the swell off the outside eight. She gets a little looser. Good girl. And the truck gets better. Take that trot, and do it together. She's done better on her own. She did them kind of grace the way I do that. I'm trying to transition my right. I'll let her go on her own. Do a little lateral work and get better. I like to just run through this canter. It's actually a little better than it was when we started a few months ago. Always got to think about what's good for even if it's not how we want to someday. Starting for doing some lateral work in the camper here. A little stiff and brace. Playing and operating a little bit. Having that bit in the mouth. Not quite. There, good girl. Let's just go balance there. I don't know if that shifts there, but she shifted her balance a little. And it's a lot softer in the hand. That was not supposed to be a circle. Super fun. I'll play outside a little bit. Good girl. That was fun. Good. So I can't use what letters I'm unedited here. So I use C or A to make sure that I'm even with that at the peak of my circle. So she just locked a little on that outside rein again. There, good girl. Cover cup for her side in there. That helps your shot time. When she locks on the outside rein, cover shot not much of the leading over to her shoulder. Good girl. Let's flex her a little bit, something on that outside rein. Get her a little straighter. Good. Yeah, flex her in. On the outside rein again. Good girl. Bring her shoulder around. Good girl. Much better in the other. Good girl. Good girl. Juicy, that's the point. Warming up. Softer. Diving down, she wants to get her pole a little low. Good girl. All right, sorry, we had some technical difficulties there. This is our first one, so bear with us. I am going to pick up that canter to the left again, right where we left off. First, just picking up the reins here in the walk, making sure that she settles into that. Good girl, much softer than the beginning of the ride. Good girl. Whoa, that was supposed to be a trot transition. And my video, my friend over there videoing was just saying when we took that little camera break, she was just asking, so she likes to canter a lot, doesn't she? Come back because that was a walk trot transition. And it's not necessarily that, I mean, she does like to canter. She just likes to go. She is just very forward, hot sort of horse, which is wonderful to work with, but at times it can just be hard to get her to breathe and wait. Good girl, just wait. It's okay. It's okay. I know. Good girl. Just gonna wait till she settles in this walk here. Now she's asking me what's next, what's next. I'm ready. Just need to breathe. Let's do a little shoulder in the walk here. Just want her to take that second to go, okay, it's all right.
I can just walk sometimes. Good girl. It's not all about going again, just about relaxing and walking. And then we got a much nicer trot transition. Good girl. Find our bend on this circle here. Little inside leg, because she's falling a little against that. There we go. This is her left direction, always likes to fall in. Good. Still runs a little through that. That's just going to get better over time. Good girl. All right, then we do a little lateral work this way. Whoop. She's kind of lost here, a little behind my leg. And she's hot and forward, but she still sucks back sometimes and gets just a little bit too balled up. It's not so much a lack of energy, it's just redirecting the energy, that she has to keep going forward and not just kind of curl up and bounce on the spot. Good girl. Gets a little down in my hand there. Good girl. Pumping her up a little. That little extra forward energy to help her come up. Good. Same thing. Gets a little down in my hand. That got better at the end. You'll see that better on this next side. When I first got her a few months ago, she wanted to get really down on her forehand and all the lateral work and kind of run through it. So it's been trying to, good girl, help her gain some strength, help her carry herself through the lateral work. Oh, that doesn't help. Now she's snorting herself down. Good girl. But even despite the snort, that could have been rounder, but she stayed up a little bit better and wasn't trying to dive down quite as much. Not thrilled where her balance is at the beginning there, so we're going to start that off with a circle. Good girl. Good girl. Of course, the best one is going right away from the camera where you can't see, but she kept her balance better for that. See if we can replicate that over here. I'll just start it off with a circle again. Good girl. Nope, little inside leg. Really get that bending, turning to the left. Good girl. That was the theme of my last lesson with my trainer, was lots of 10-meter circles. Really make those honest. Really get her bending. So thank you for that, Alyssa. Our 10-meter circles, I think I've helped. And she can pass judgment on that tomorrow in our lesson. Good girl. Now, she just had a walk break while the camera was cutting out, so just going to go right into some shoulder in here. But it is important to give them lots of rests and walk breaks. Normally she'd be about due for one, but she just had one. You just didn't get to see it. Good girl. Little shoulder in. Oh, want a little more angle in that. A little less neck bend. Wants to curl herself a little too much to the left. And I want her just a little straighter on the outside. And even if it's just more of a shoulder fore at this point, a little off my left leg. Ooh, and to stay up. Now in this she wants to dive a little bit too. That was not a 10-meter circle, so we're going to try that one again. Just really, especially with this horse, holding myself to a standard too. Easy to get a little complacent, whether or not we're being videoed, but just to always make sure that I make those circles exactly 10 meters. And when I get to my test, hopefully, we'll be able to make it 10 meters. Good girl. Good girl. That was better that time. Gets a little stiff in my hand there. Ooh, kind of dives a little bit. Set her up on a circle here again. Little outside leg. She's kind of falling out in her shoulder there. That gets better. Shoulder comes around. Everything gets softer. Like to take her on a little haunches in here. Want a little more angle. Not too worried. Good girl. Good girl. Not too worried about the bend yet. I'm trying to get her, keep the balance, bring her haunches in, kind of treating it more as a leg yield. Little outside range, flexing her out. Good. Helps her haunches come in. And we just toy with a little bend at the end there. Good girl. Good girl. we get a little bit heavy. Now she's going, we're not doing lateral work. What's next? Just want to put her on a circle here. Good. Bring her back a little bit. Just a little baby collection there. Good. And then we go forward out of it. I want her to keep her balance as we go forward. Ooh. And then to be able to come back. Good. 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 And then forward again. Good girl. That was much better. She didn't get it down in my hand that time until she got silly by the gate there. Good girl. And always making sure that, good, we don't come too far back. Get behind my leg. Good girl. Ooh, now we're just doing lots of silly things up there. A little forward into the contact there. We start grinding our teeth and getting a little stressed. It's okay, love. You're doing fine. Bring her back again. Just has to be good. Really adjustable. Good. And back again. She kind of takes over sometimes. Good. Doesn't want to let me. Back. Back. Good. Doesn't really always want to let me pilot. She goes, I got this. I just, good. I need her there. And then the coming back is the harder part. Good. Come back. Come back. Good. Need her to always be ready. Good. And back. Good. Always ready to come back for me, to go forward for me. Good. And back. Good. Good. Go out of that a little bit, and then we'll trot. Dear trot. Dear trot. Okay. Don't stress too much. Let the downward transition take you a while. Good girl. Just help her find that. If she wanted to bury herself and get a little low in that. Come up. Good girl. Good girl. Now we'll give her a little rest. Again, finding the bend up my circle. Kind of fell out and lost that there for a second. Then she falls in. Might spiral this circle in the trot a little bit. Bring her shoulder in. Good. Push her out a little off my inside leg. Bring her shoulder in. Push her out a little off my inside leg. Bring her shoulder back around. Good. Push her out off my inside leg. Bring her shoulders back in. There we go. Good girl. And she softens herself. Lets me steer a little bit more. Turn her shoulders again. And the bend helps her balance improve. Good girl. And we'll let her walk. Oop. 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 Good girl. Give her a little something here. Hey. Good girl. Give her a good little rest. Then we'll play with a little more canter-lateral work to the right. She's had a good walk break here. Now we'll just do a little bit of shoulder in, haunches in, little adjusting the canter to the right. Oh, I pick up the reins and now we're tense again. So just spend some time in the walk. Just taking the time that she needs to relax. I often wind up riding her a lot longer than I ride a lot of my horses because so much of it is just relaxing in the walk and giving her the time to just settle before we go on to the next thing. Otherwise, she just gets herself more and more worked up. And I just want her, good girl, just settle into it, good, and go from a relaxed place and not just skip the walking. Good girl. Easy to kind of skip over the walk and then In that case, the horse is kind of right in thinking you pick up the reins and go, if that's all you ever do. So as soon as she starts to think that, make it interesting for her. Do a little haunches in here. Good girl. And a little shoulder in. Good girl. Just however long she needs to just settle. Go around there. Ooh, and then we get stiff on the left rein. She just gets a little bit defensive about it sometimes. Ask her to switch the bend and she just kind of goes on lockdown. Ooh, you're fine. And then when she does, the bend is so inconsistent. That was a very wiggly renvers there. Good girl. There, she starts to settle. And then hopefully, when she's relaxed, we'll be able to get a nice trot transition. But as soon as I even think about it, then we get stressed again. Good girl. Nope, 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 nope. There, I started to ask, but she got tense, so I asked for that trot, but then I didn't quite like how tight she got about it. So just gonna come back and do it again. Soften her a little bit here, but now she knows that she was right, and I'm gonna ask her to trot. There, good girl. Want her to stay up in her balance there. Good. That was going to be a canter transition. We fell in, I pushed her out, she ran, and now she's stressed about the fact that she knows I wanted to canter and she didn't canter. If she ever realizes she made a mistake, she really gets herself all tied in knots over that. And I just want her to know it's okay to make a mistake every now and then. A lot of horses have to kind of get after when they make a mistake. She gets after herself. She goes, I know you wanted me to canter and I didn't do it right. And then she stresses herself about it. She didn't today, but oftentimes she'll just wait a couple strides when I soften her and then canter herself. She just knows that's what I did want. Good, that's okay. A little bit of dive bombing there, but we'll take that for now. Good girl. And I just work in the canter, getting the balance up. Good. And start this off with a 10-meter circle again. Good girl. Good girl. Right into a shoulder in. A little down in my hand. Circle again. And use that to help her balance. Good girl. Good. Straighten at the end. Good job. I say that because I always have a hard time remembering that. That's something that I've worked on over the years and still have to remind myself. I just like to go in the shoulder in and then go through the corner. But really good habit to straighten at the end. I just try and stay on top of myself, make sure that I'm always working on keeping things like 10-meter circles, 10 meters, and in the lateral work, making sure I straighten at the end, and that I just keep myself to that standard so that the horse is always kept to that standard and gets the most out of the training. It's really good for them to straighten at the end and not just fall through the corner. Ooh, here we get really heavy. So we circle again. Good girl. That helps her get softer, get lighter. Couple steps here. And make sure I straighten. Good girl. Little inside like there. Good girl. Good girl. When she bends on those circles, it just makes everything feel so much softer. And then we bobble our way through that shoulder in there. Good girl. Ooh. And we fall through that corner. That one, more her than me. I did ask her to straighten. Gave her a little poke, and that's what she ran from there. Good girl. Now we got that corner. Good, 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 good. Straighten. That felt softer. Good girl. Still just a little stiff in my hand though. There, good girl. Just kind of grabs the bit and runs through me sometimes, so I like all this lateral work. Good. Helps her stay supple, kind of keeps her guessing whether we're going to circle, whether we're going to stick in the shoulder in, whether I'm going to throw something else at her. Good. And we still don't like that corner, so I'm going to circle right in this corner. Really push her over into it. That was better. Good girl. Really push her over into it. There we go. Finally made a corner there. Good girl. Just wanted to get a little on her forehand. That got better. Good girl. Good girl. All right. Try a little hunches in here. Start that one off with a circle too. There. I don't know if you can see on those circles when everything just softens. Feels totally different. That was not quite 10 though I saw in the mirror, so I'm going to do that again. Ooh, that was 10. Little hop on her part. Got soft at the end, so we'll go right into this. Good girl. Add a little bend at the end once we get the angle. And straighten. Her favorite corner. Ooh, still kind of fall through that one. Push her over again. Good girl. Much better. Just want every corner to be really easy. Want a little more angle there. Good girl. And then we'll add a little bend. Make sure I can let go of that rein once I get it. Good. Good girl, Resolute. Now we'll go just a little forward back on the circle here. Ah, she heard me. Okay, patience. There, she's thinking change because I was doing changes on a serpentine the other day. So she wanted to go left and change. Good. Good. A little down in my hand. Bumping her, kind of jiggling, bumping up a little bit against the corners of her mouth there, saying, stay up with me, stay light there. And then I want to get her in a place where I get her up and light and I can release and she'll hold herself there. Good. And a little bit of collection there helps with that. Go forward and come back again. Good. Forward again. Ooh, a little down in my hand, so we come back right away. Good. I want her to go forward in a way that she's ready to come back again. She's always thinking, well, good girl. I don't know when she's going to have me come back, so I should balance myself. There, that's much better. Of course, it's going straight away from you guys. There we go. Good girl. And then we can come back. A little easier. On my circle. Little outside leg there. She wants to fall out. Want her to come back one more time here. Good. We'll go forward. And we'll trot. Ah, there we go. That one worked. Good girl. All right, I'll just trot her for a second here, and then we'll let her be done. Now this trot feels much softer. There, I can really release her. Whoop. Really release her. She stays pretty up and soft. Feels really nice in my hand. I kind of messed it up by releasing so many times there. Good girl. There we go. That feels much softer, much rounder and looser, hopefully adjustable. If I go forward a little bit, bring her back again. Actually kind of went into that corner that time. Good job. Good girl. Now she's bending really nicely on her own, not having to push her with my legs, and when I do, she moves right off of it. This feels much more rideable, much less stiff than when we started. Now we've been working on our trot lengthenings, and we're just really going for it. Doesn't always wind up really pretty. Kind of falls on her face sometimes, but first I just want to get that power when I ask for it. So go forward, really go for it. Good girl. It's actually a lot less running through me than she often does. And she comes back quite nicely at the end. Not super pretty, but actually much better than they've been. Good girl. But she can give me even a little bit more than that. Good girl. Well, unfortunately, that was going right away. Try one more on here. I know from teaching, those are hard to see when they're going right away from you. Good girl, just like that, Rez. Good girl. And back again. Good girl. All right, we'll let her stretch for that. Now this feels much looser than our stretch at the beginning of the ride did. Much easier to get her bending off my legs, changing direction, much more relaxed. And I'm happy with that. That's always a good thing when things feel better at the end than the beginning. Good girl. She feels really relaxed right now. Really love her. My nickname for her is my little nutcase. She wasn't actually all that stressed today. She usually often gets herself much more worked up than that. But I'm very excited about her. So hopefully we'll do another one of these sometime soon and you can see her again. I always like to pick them up at the end of stretching at the end of a ride so they don't just fall into the walk. Also, you have to do that in some of your tests to stretch and come back up again. We kind of forget to do that. We just stretch and then end, and they kind of fall on their face into a walk transition. Then you pick them up in the test and they go, what? I stretch and I walk. Good girl, Raz. Give her another sugar here.